Ukrainian troops are likely leaving the Kursk region amid the advance of Russian forces, Forbes writes. 2 weeks ago, an elite Russian drone force disrupted Ukrainian supply lines. On February the 25th, a series of targeted strikes disabled dozens of vehicles along the main road to Sudzha. The town served as the main base for a 10,000-strong Ukrainian force that held a large but rapidly shrinking territory in the Kursk region of western Russia. That was the day you started worrying about Kursk, said independent analyst Andrew Perpetua. 2 weeks later, the bulk of Ukrainian units, including the most combat-ready brigades, appeared to have carried out an orderly evacuation from Kursk, returning to Ukrainian territory. My friends managed to leave Kursk without being encircled, one Ukrainian source said on Monday. It's a shame it has come to this, but that's what it is. The Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region in August quickly captured hundreds of square miles of territory, but it failed to consolidate strategically advantageous positions. The advance north was slowed by Russian counterattacks near the village of Pogrebki, and to the east, Ukrainian forces encountered 12,000 North Korean troops. Despite being outnumbered 3-1 by the Russians, the Ukrainians held their ground, using minefields, drones and artillery to repel the attacks. One such episode was the assault on the Russian 155th Separate Naval Infantry Brigade in mid-February. Its column, moving towards the Ukrainian 47th Mechanized Brigade under the red flag of the USSR, ended up in a carefully prepared kill zone. Some of the equipment was blown up by mines, others were destroyed by drones and artillery. One of the Russian soldiers, having climbed out of a damaged armored personnel carrier, took a few steps in the snow, fell, and exploded when a drone hit him. We are extinguishing all enemy attempts to advance in the Kursk region, the 47th Mechanized Brigade stated. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski, aiming to further ceasefire talks, considered the possibility of exchanging territories. We will exchange Ukrainian territory for Russian, Zelensky said. However, the Russia-friendly administration of US President Donald Trump has complicated Kiev's position by not allowing Ukrainian diplomats to participate in negotiations between Washington and Moscow. On February the 28th, Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance criticized Zelensky at the White House, accusing him of not being grateful enough for previous U.S. aid. It is worth noting that Vance himself had previously voted against this aid as a senator. After the meeting, Trump cut off military support for Ukraine and froze intelligence sharing. Meanwhile, the elite Russian drone group Rubicon was operating in the Kursk region. Its drones were able to penetrate Ukrainian radio jamming. As a result, the roads to Sudzha were littered with destroyed Ukrainian equipment, and Russian aircraft bombed the bridges on the border, making retreat difficult. Yesterday, the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, General Alexander Syrsky, said, "There is no threat around our units in the Kursk region." However, he did not confirm that Ukrainian troops will remain there. The units are taking timely measures to maneuver at an advantageous defensive line, he added. This may indicate the withdrawal of Ukrainian brigades from Kursk, which casts doubt on the prospect of returning this territory in exchange for a favorable ceasefire.
The Luhansk Operational Tactical Group of the Ukrainian Armed Forces has prevented a large-scale offensive by the occupying Russian army in the direction of the city of Seversk in the Donetsk region. The invaders, who attempted to advance with dozens of armored combat vehicles, were stopped by mortars, other artillery installations and drone strikes. Although the infantrymen who tried to advance by dismounting from the vehicles saw that this was impossible and wanted to turn back, they were destroyed by successive strikes. As a result, 17 armored personnel carriers, 1 tank, 5 quadricycles were destroyed, 16 armored personnel carriers, 2 tanks were damaged. The number of dead and wounded of the invaders was about 160. Russian special forces crept through a gas pipeline to strike Ukrainian units from the rear in the Kursk region, Russian state media widely reported on Tuesday, as Moscow claimed fresh gains in its push to recapture parts of the border province that Kiev seized in a shock offensive last year. According to Associated Press, a series of videos published by state outlets on Tuesday showed what was reported to be parts of the operation using the gas pipeline. Ukraine launched a daring cross-border incursion into Kursk in August, marking the largest attack on Russian territory since World War II. Within days, Ukrainian units had captured 1,000 square kilometers of territory, including the strategic border town of Sudzha, and taken hundreds of Russian prisoners of war. Months after Ukraine's Thunder Run, its soldiers in Kursk are weary and bloodied by relentless assaults of more than 50,000 troops, including some from Russian ally North Korea. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers are at risk of being encircled, open-source maps of the battlefield show. According to Russian state TV reports, Russian operatives walked about 14 kilometers inside the pipeline, which Moscow had until recently used to send gas to Europe. The town of Sudzha had some 5,000 residents before Russia's full-scale February 2022 military operation in Ukraine, and it houses major gas transfer and measuring stations along the pipeline, which was once a major outlet for Russian natural gas exports through Ukrainian territory. Russian TV showed video of soldiers digging underground tunnels, then wearing gas masks and moving along what looked like the inside of a large pipe. Ukraine's general staff confirmed Saturday evening that Russian sabotage and assault groups used the pipeline in a bid to gain a foothold outside Sudzha. In a Telegram post, it said Russian troops were detected in a timely manner, and that Ukraine responded with rockets and artillery.